guys, how you doing? My name is David Leslie. We're doing a course together called Normal Life. This is week number 3. Last week we dealt with inequality and why it matters to us to have proactive solutions to deal with it. This week we're starting to take steps towards that, using the method that Zach and I followed in the book, which is friendship. And one of the ways we're going to start to do that is look at the idea of privilege. You know, so in 2015, young South Africans angry with how little had been done since Nelson Mandela stood with Winnie and apartheid fell, you know. And that catalyzed a movement called Fees Must Fall, which kind of rocked the nation as they challenged institutions around the difference between the rich and the poor and the lack of privilege for those who are coming from formerly oppressed backgrounds. Part of that meant that in our city there was ongoing conversations happening almost once a month with young South Africans looking at this question of black pain and white privilege. You know, I remember walking very clearly into one of those engagements that happened in our kind of like studio floor where our office was, and sitting in the back and listening to the conversation, being so deeply offended by this conversation of privilege and black pain, you know. And I think I was offended because in my mind, it was very clear. My granddad came from poverty, and my dad was born as a baker's son, and he paid his way through varsity and started an incredible business and sold that, and so he had worked really hard for the privilege and that my family had enjoyed, and so I was offended deeply by this idea of that I was in some way privileged. And maybe today you're sitting there and the idea of privilege offends you. Possibly you coming from someone who was oppressed by the apartheid system and colonialism, and you're coming from a place of oppression, and so the idea of privilege offends you. Maybe you're coming from a place of privilege and looking across that someone else thinks your privilege offends you as well, you know. And I think what I want to just pause on is deal with the offense, because the minute we were offended, friendship or connection is impossible. It just separates us further. And so that was the design of apartheid, and we want to break that in our lifetime. And so we're making connection our cause because we believe that serves us better.